Pigs gone wild. Researchers found that Texas has the worst feral hog problem in the entire country. Wild hogs cause a lot of destruction, and researchers estimate around $2.5 billion in agricultural damage each year.
Dusk falls over the humid thickets of East Texas, turning the sky a bruised blood red. Farmer Jack Miller clutches his Winchester tight on the porch, watching the pine tree line. That is not the wind shaking the brush. And those deep ruts turning his cornfields upside down are not from heavy machinery. It is the work of America's most destructive living bulldozers. Wild boars, brought here by 16th century Spanish explorers and later crossbred with Eurasian beasts, have mutated into an aggressive, unstoppable super pig. Today, over 6 million of these creatures horde across 39 states, wrecking ecosystems and slashing local vertebrate biodiversity by 26%. The federal government pours millions into high-tech thermal sniper rifles and armed helicopter hunts. Yet the population has tripled since 1990. How did a farm animal turn into an invincible bio-invasion taking over the American backcountry? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another deep dive into the wild secrets reshaping our planet. To truly understand how wild boars managed to turn the American countryside into their personal playground, you have to look under the hood of their biology. We are not just talking about heavy, tough-skinned beasts tearing up fence lines. We are looking at a hyper-engineered biological machine built for one primary objective: relentless, exponential reproduction. A wild sow carries her litter for just about 115 days. That means a single female can easily drop 3 litters every 2 years. In normal times, she brings anywhere from 4 to 6 piglets into the world with every batch. But when food is plentiful, that number easily skyrockets to 13. To make matters worse, young females do not even wait to reach full physical maturity before jumping into the game. A 6-month-old piglet, barely big enough to fend for itself, can already get pregnant and start churning out the next generation. This unchecked biological surge is ripping a massive hole through the American economy, racking up anywhere from $1.5 to $2.5 billion in agricultural damage across the nation every single year. Look at Texas alone, ground zero for this porcine invasion, with over 2.5 million wild pigs roaming the brush. Farmers and ranchers there lose anywhere from $50 million to over $400 million annually, as these herds plow through crops, destroy irrigation lines, and wreck pastures overnight. Beyond the trampled fields, these animals carry a hidden biological threat. Wild boars act as walking reservoirs for at least 34 dangerous pathogens capable of jumping straight to domestic livestock and human. A single spillover of African swine fever from the wild population into commercial farms could instantly paralyze the entire United States pork export industry, mirroring the catastrophic 2018 outbreak in China that wiped out a quarter of the world's pig population. Out in California's agricultural valleys, these animals regularly root through fields and leave behind feces that contaminate fresh spinach crops with deadly E. coli, triggering sweeping federal product recalls and leaving grocery store shelves empty. Where are you watching this video from? Please tell us your country or city in the comments, and let's explore together. Yet, the biggest trigger driving this reproduction machine to maximum speed is the very thing humans do to stop it: random, uncontrolled hunting. Scientists studying this nightmare unlocked a bizarre ecological dynamic known as the Wild Boar Paradox. In a natural, undisturbed sounder, which is what we call a herd of wild pigs, the social structure revolves around a dominant, veteran matriarch. This old sow maintains strict social hierarchy and actively suppresses the reproductive cycles of the younger, subordinate females. Her sheer presence delays their maturity and keeps the herd size stable. When weekend hunters head out with high-powered rifles and shoot without a clear strategy, they usually target the biggest pig in the sight line. That biggest pig is almost always the matriarch. The moment her bullet drops the lead sow, the entire social hierarchy shatters in an instant. With the matriarch gone, the biological brakes are completely released. Every single young female in the sounder enters heat prematurely. They gain reproductive weight faster, breed earlier, and launch the herd into a massive wave of compensatory reproduction. Instead of taking their time to raise a few strong piglets, the species flips its biological strategy on a dime. They shift overnight from careful population management to mass-producing as many offspring as physically possible just to fill the vacuum. Every time a hunter pulls the trigger on the wrong pig, 3 more take its place. Humans keep firing bullets into the woods, thinking they are solving the problem, while unknowingly handing these super pigs the exact biological spark they need to multiply even faster. If our best marksmanship and high-powered rifles are only making these super pigs breed faster, you have to ask a simple question. Why isn't Mother Nature handling this herself? The short answer is that we systematically destroyed the single best natural brake on the wild pig population. And we did it while believing we were protecting our own farms. Enter the coyote. Across the American West and South, no animal has been more misunderstood, vilified, or relentlessly hunted. For centuries, ranchers and farmers viewed the coyote as nothing more than a ruthless thief, a parasite preying on newborn calves, sheep, and family pets. That deep-seated hatred sparked a brutal war against them. Every single year, Americans eradicate an estimated 4 million coyotes using a lethal cocktail of steel leg-hold traps, night vision sniper setups, aerial hunts, and cruel poison baits. We thought we were wiping out a pest. In reality, we were executing our greatest natural ally in the fight against wild boars. Under the lens of modern wildlife ecology, coyotes are not the destructive menace they were made out to be. They are actually the most efficient natural birth control mechanism for wild pigs in North America. Now, a single lone coyote is obviously too small to go toe-to-toe with a 300-pound wild boar with razor-sharp tusks. But coyotes do not need to fight fully grown adults. They specialize in targeting the most vulnerable link in the pig life cycle, the piglets. Rigorous field tracking studies conducted in South Carolina placed radio telemetry collars on dozens of wild piglets to monitor their natural survival rates in the wild. The data came back with a shocking revelation. Once a piglet makes it past its first 2 weeks of life, its survival rate jumps to a staggering 95%. But for the small percentage of piglets that die before reaching that mark, an overwhelming 91% of those deaths are caused directly by coyote predation or scavenging. Coyotes act as an invisible wall, picking off young piglets before they ever have the chance to grow into thick-skinned, unstoppable, destructive beasts. On top of that, coyotes create a massive psychological barrier known as the landscape of fear. Ranchers regularly note that when a stable, vocal pack of coyotes establishes a territory, wild pig herds avoid those pastures entirely. The constant threat of lurking predators forces the pigs to stay hidden, limiting their movement and keeping them out of open agricultural fields. If you are enjoying this deep dive into nature's delicate balance, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our community so you never miss another story. When humans wipe out coyotes en masse, we trigger a disaster nearly identical to the Wild Boar Paradox. Coyotes live in highly structured family units led by a dominant alpha male and female pair. The alpha pair holds the territory and strictly limits which pack members get to breed. When a hunter's bullet takes out an alpha coyote, that entire social boundary shatters into chaos. Without an alpha pair to defend the border, wandering coyotes from surrounding regions flood into the vacant territory. Neighboring packs clash, social order collapses, and suddenly multiple younger females within the fragmented pack start breeding all at once. Instead of reducing coyote numbers, relentless hunting shatters their social structure and causes localized population spikes. More importantly, every time we clear a territory of its resident coyote pack, we lift the heavy pressure off local wild pig herds. Piglets that would have been hunted down within their first 10 days of life suddenly walk through the woods completely untouched. They eat, they grow, And within 6 short months, those surviving piglets become breeding machines themselves. By trying to protect our livestock from coyotes, we handed millions of wild boars a free pass to grow up, take over the land, and turn the American countryside into an unmanageable war zone. Beyond coyotes, North America once possessed a formidable lineup of native apex predators, a natural defensive wall, ready to choke out any biological invasion. If you look closely at the American wilderness, there is no shortage of terrifying muscle and sharp teeth capable of taking down wild game. Yet even this legendary league of native hunters stands almost completely powerless against the relentless spread of the wild pig. In the dense hardwood forests of the East, the American black bear acts as both an opportunistic piglet hunter and a fierce direct competitor. Every autumn, black bears and wild boars lock into a bitter struggle over fallen acorns, the single most critical nutrient source needed to survive the upcoming winter. Down in the murky, slow-moving waters of southern swamps, giant American alligators act as cold-blooded ambushers. They lie motionless beneath the dark algae, waiting for an unsuspecting pig to step down to the water's edge for a drink before dragging it into the deep. Bobcats and invasive pythons silently stalk the thickets for stray young, while in the deep southern Everglades, the critically endangered Florida panther historically relied on wild pigs for a major portion of its diet. On paper, this sounds like an inescapable gauntlet of death for an invasive species, but in reality, this natural alliance fails to stop the boar invasion due to 2 massive ecological brick walls: the collective defense behavior of the pigs themselves and the irreversible damage humans inflicted on America's largest predators long before the pigs arrived. First, consider the sheer defensive power of a wild boar herd. These animals do not wander around as defenseless individuals. They move in tight-knit social groups known as sounders, composed of multiple experienced adult females fiercely protecting their young. When a piglet survives its first few weeks and crosses the 10-pound mark, its entire survival dynamic changes. It becomes remarkably fast, agile, and alert. More importantly, trying to snatch a 10-pound piglet means confronting a wall of angry 300-pound mothers equipped with razor-sharp tusks and terrifying aggression. For mid-sized predators like bobcats or coyotes, attempting to isolate a growing piglet from an active sounder carries a massive risk of severe injury or death. Unless a piglet wanders far away from the herd, most natural predators simply choose easier, safer prey. Second, and far more devastating, is the historical reality of what humans did to the top of the food chain. Humans dismantled America's heavy artillery long before wild boars reached critical mass. The eastern cougar, once the supreme ambush predator of the eastern forests, was hunted to complete extinction. The mighty grizzly bear, the only apex predator possessing the sheer size, strength, and raw power required to regularly overpower and kill a massive, fully grown wild boar, was systematically wiped out from key invasion states like Texas, Arizona, California, and New Mexico. Meanwhile, gray wolf populations were nearly erased and are recovering at a painfully slow crawl, confined mostly to northern pockets far away from southern pig hotspots. By removing the giant carnivores that kept North American ecosystems in balance, humans accidentally created an evolutionary paradise for wild boars. We stripped the landscape of the only beasts big enough to hunt adult pigs, leaving behind an environment where an aggressive invasive species faces virtually zero natural pressure once it grows past infancy. Unchecked by big cats or bears, protected by aggressive mothers, and fueled by endless agricultural crops, wild boars unlocked total freedom to spread across the continent. With Mother Nature's ancient security system completely broken by human hands, the task of stopping this destructive tide falls squarely back on us. But when traditional hunting rifles and standard iron traps fail against an animal that adapts faster than we can shoot, how is modern military-grade technology stepping in as our final line of defense? The failure of traditional hunting methods taught wildlife managers a bitter, expensive lesson. Picking off wild pigs one by one only makes the survivors smarter. Under constant gun pressure, wild boars quickly adapt their behavior. They turn entirely nocturnal, retreat deep into dense cover during daylight, and learn to identify and avoid standard mechanical traps. To actually bring a wild pig population under control, wildlife biologists estimate that you have to eliminate a staggering 66% of the total herd every single year. That is a virtually impossible benchmark if you rely solely on individual snipers, hunting dogs, or traditional box traps. When a standard trap springs early on, a few careless piglets, the wary adult matriarch standing outside watches the steel door slam shut. She instantly learns the danger, remembers the sight, and teaches the rest of the herd to avoid traps for the rest of their lives. This is where cutting-edge military-style technology enters the fight through a strategy known as hole sounder trapping. The primary weapon in this high-tech battle is the smart corral trap, a massive circular enclosure spanning anywhere from 26 to 32 feet in diameter. The circular design is pure tactical genius. By completely removing sharp corners, the trap prevents panicked pigs from piling into a wedge, trampling over each other, and scaling the outer walls to freedom. What truly elevates these smart traps is their seamless integration with modern technology. Each system features high-definition, thermal infrared sensor cameras that stream real-time video directly to a wildlife trapper's mobile device miles away. Instead of relying on a crude tripwire that might trigger prematurely, the operator monitors the enclosure live from their phone or computer. They sit back patiently, watching the pigs wander in to feast on pre-baited corn. They hold their fire until the most suspicious, trap-shy matriarch finally steps inside with every last piglet. Once the entire sounder is inside the ring, the operator taps a button on an app, sending a wireless cellular signal that instantly drops a heavy steel gate. The trap captures the entire family unit in one clean sweep, leaving no survivors behind to learn the trick or spread trap shyness to neighboring herds. If you are fascinated by how modern technology and wildlife biology intersect to solve massive ecological crises, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives. However, high-tech hardware is only half the battle. Technology only works when paired with a precise understanding of wild pig reproductive cycles. A tactical biological breakthrough published in the Journal of Wildlife Management introduced a game-changing trapping strategy. Instead of reactively setting traps after a new batch of piglets appears, land managers now map out localized birth pulses, the specific seasonal windows when females give birth in a given region. Once wildlife crews pin down those exact birth pulses, they unleash concentrated trapping campaigns within a strict 115-day window leading up to the birthing season. This reverse strategy strikes the population at its absolute weakest point. Trapping during this critical window eliminates pregnant sows along with their previous juvenile litters all at once. By removing pregnant females right before they give birth, managers wipe out 2 generations simultaneously and completely shatter the compensatory reproduction cycle before it can start. Smart corral traps and tactical timing are scoring massive, localized victories across Texas, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Entire sounders are wiped out overnight without firing a single rifle shot into the dark. Yet, as effective as these high-tech enclosures have proven to be, can high-tech trapping alone win a continent-wide war against an enemy that breeds like wildfire, or are we still overlooking the underlying balance of the ecosystem? After centuries of fighting, America faces a bitter truth. Completely eradicating wild boars from the mainland is practically impossible. We are no longer trying to win an absolute victory. We are simply trying to hold the line. Chemical poisons like sodium nitrite kill quickly, but they carry a terrifying risk of accidentally poisoning native black bears, deer, and raccoons, who eat the same bait. Meanwhile, wildlife contraceptives like Gonacon work in controlled environments but distributing precise doses across millions of acres of wild terrain is financially impossible. This crisis leaves us with a profound lesson that goes far beyond wildlife management. The wild pig invasion is not just a story of a pest running wild. It is a mirror reflecting the heavy price of human interference. When we wiped out the top predators, fractured natural food chains, and flooded the landscape with endless agricultural waste, we broke nature's ancient system of checks and balances. Smart traps and high-tech cameras give us a fighting chance, but technology is only a temporary band-aid on a deeply wounded ecosystem. Life teaches us that true control comes from harmony, not domination. Whenever we attempt to bend nature to our short-sighted desires without respecting its delicate balance, the consequences eventually return to haunt us. What do you think is the best path forward for the American wilderness? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found value in today's story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.